Good afternoon and welcome to the 1:30 p.m. Rakyat Times TV News. I'm Mick Hu. Over the last couple of days, we've been talking to various people who have been involved in alleviating the suffering of flood victims. In our studio today, we have two individuals who are rather unorthodox in their methods and approach in flood relief. Welcome, David and Dean.
Hi.
The story making the rounds is that you went around helping the flood victims in a convertible. Is that true?
Well, you got to ask Dion.
The truth.
Yes, it was true.
Okay, well, my first question is, what on earth were you thinking about? I mean, flood-prone areas, the convertible is not really flood-friendly, right?
Well, simple answer. That was the only car we have, so we used it. It got us there, and for no other reasons. It was the only form of vehicle we had. So.
But it became really, really popular on the Facebook.
Somewhat, yes. Hopefully, a good thing.
Why not rent 4x4?
Well, we didn't really want to waste resources by renting other vehicle. There are actually people who actually offered to lend their vehicle, but then we don't actually want to actually take the responsibility in case of anything happen, right?
Might get washed away.
Yeah, so we'd rather take our own vehicle, and our friend here offered his vehicle, so I said okay.
Why do you guys do it? You are not attached with any NGOs, right?
No,
we're not.
We're not. We're just two individuals, wanting to help. We saw the situation being bad. We were reading, news. We were seeing photos, especially Kuala Krai really got me. And then I just decided that I want to go. And then, in one of our Facebook group, basically David offered a ride. So I said, okay.
It was spontaneous. We didn't have any plans. We had no idea what we were supposed to do.
So you have no plans at all?
None whatsoever. No, and it was impulsive, but I think every little bit helps, and we could do our part, and we just went. Yeah, that's really the gist of it.
How do you guys go? I mean, decide which part to go or how to?
We didn't.
Well, yeah. I mean, initially, I guess the only goal we had was to actually get to Kota Baru and actually do a bit of surveillance and then decide how we were going to help. Okay, we were stopped by roads that got cut off and everything, and then somehow we actually managed to get to Kota Baru. It took us 2 days. We had to sleep in our car in Goa Musang because there were pretty much nothing available, no hotels that are operational, and we just have to actually sleep in our car. Took us 2 days to get to Kota Baru, and then basically from there we reached out through social media, and then some people got us connected with the locals, local volunteers, and then that's where we actually started, planning, and then started, shopping, and also collecting some donations, and then we started off from there.
Okay. Yeah. What do you guys see? What do you guys see there? Destruction,
chaos, but it was quite orderly. It wasn't mass chaos. It was wet, clearly.
Of course.
So a lot of roads were broken, plenty of potholes. Some bridges were destructed, and a lot of kampung houses washed away. A lot of mud, and generally people were clearly in need of help. Yeah, people were definitely in need of help. So that was, but a lot of our driving was in the dark, so we didn't really see much.
I heard that you guys use Waze to go there.
Oh yes, on and off, because during that the few days there were hardly any 3G around, so there were even places where a long stretch for about probably 3 hours of driving where there's not even any signal at all. So we were sort of afraid because you know, that if anything were to actually happen, we wouldn't be able to call anybody.
Yeah, what if, let's say, in the middle of the night when you're sleeping in the car, and suddenly the water just rises and...
With sweep.
We thought of that. It was really scary, and our plan was
No plan.
just get to the higher ground. I mean, and we actually sort of like we slept at Hentian Gua Musang, so that's sort of like, you know, a little elevated from, you know, the other places. So we thought it was safe. Quite a lot of people actually sleep there. Yeah. So.
Okay. What do you guys bring there? What kind of things that they need? Okay, throughout your experience.
Meaning what? Supplies and
Yeah, the
everything?
supplies.
Nothing.
Well, we didn't. You can't really put much into a convertible.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
Yeah. So.
I was trying to ask in a polite way.
So yeah, the plan was not to actually bring supplies there. The plan was to actually bring money and then shop around Kota Baru area, and, you know, buy food and essential items to distribute.
In the kampong area.
Yes, yes. So we didn't bring much. We just bring our bags, our clothes, you know, and that's pretty much it.
Okay. I heard that you guys went to the Orang Asli areas also.
Yes.
Yeah. Can you tell our viewers regarding your experience there?
Yeah, well, it was a very brief visit. We thought we would try to help by sending medical supplies to the Orang Aslis, and we took about an hour's drive to get there. They were fine. They were. I think the flood did hit them as well because they lived next to a stream or sort of river. Unfortunately, what we didn't realize was Orang Aslis not too welcoming towards conventional Western medication, preferring to trust their own traditional ways of curing themselves. So that wasn't much of a success. Nevertheless, it was an interesting visit. The area we went to had 3 kampongs and there were about 600 people living there. So we chatted with the locals and we tried to help by, you know, we made some purchases. We bought some roots and whatnot.
Yes.
Yeah, traditional medication to boil and whatnot. So we gave them some money and they gave us some roots. That's really basically how we, you know, what happened with the Orang Aslis. So it didn't really turn out the desired results that we were looking for. No, it didn't.
I heard that you guys are the first few, or maybe the first one in the village, to visit and bring help there, right?
That was what we were told, yes.
Can you describe that? Can you elaborate?
Yeah. When we heard about the news, like me personally, I went to help with the works in KL. So I was in the BU3 collection center. What I learned is that, you know, most of the items that we are sending over to Kelantan, we don't actually have a team over there. So that's why one of the reasons why I was looking for ways to actually go there as soon as possible. So I can, you know, probably, you know, say that, you know, we were probably amongst the first to actually get there. And, you know, we wasted 2 days just traveling, like I said earlier, and then probably a day or two just planning and you know, connecting with people. And then once we actually really bought the goods, okay, when we actually went to, because we have to pack them first and all, right? So once we actually deliver the goods, you know, the people we met, you know, especially there were many what do you call old folks, okay, and some of them when we met, they actually cried and they actually said that, you know, no aid came. You know, we were the first to actually give them anything, to
After
actually
1
bring
week.
them anything. Yeah, and that's almost 1 week after the flood, okay? And we were also wondering how they actually survived.
Do you talk to them and ask them?
We tried. Unfortunately, language, you know, stopped us a little bit because so especially with the old folks, they speak, thick Kelantan slang, which we also, find it really a bit hard to understand. But we did chat with some of them, and we learned that, they were really thankful that we came, because no help came. And the other problem is that most of their vehicles went underwater, so they couldn't even go out to the relief centers to actually get anything. So
if they can't go to the relief center, especially the old folks, they're just stranded in their village or their house. How do they get the food? I mean, for 1 week without clean water, without electricity, without fresh food.
We're not very sure how they survived, or how they managed. I suppose they were waiting for aid to come, and I suppose they expected aid to turn up. However, we were told by some of the villagers that no one had actually reached out to them. So I guess what we did was timely, and hopefully it helped them. Although it wasn't much, it was just very basic things like food and water and some soya sauce, just to accompany the rice. But that was really what we could do. There were so many homes that were affected. So we tried as much as we can, as far as our donations could carry us as well. And overall, I think it was rather successful. But there are many, they're not exactly stranded, they're just not noticed, I suppose, for better choice of words.
Okay. What advice would you give to other volunteers out there who are not attached to any NGOs, who wants to help? I mean, can you share your experience, any advice to be?
Prioritize, get the basics right. Food and water. You don't need to see a lot of flood water to imagine that people are in trouble. The water may have receded, but people still need help. So they're not too far away. You can reach them. They're accessible off the beaten track, off the main roads. Just go 500 yards to your left, 500 yards to your left or right, and you'll see them. So they will need basic necessities like water and food. Nothing fancy. Some sardines, some salted fish, maybe. Sustenance, basically, very basic things. I think the priority should be that. Clothing items may not necessarily be the most important thing they're looking for.
Yeah, I would say how we did it is we went along the rivers, because we know there are plenty of houses along the rivers. So we just go. I think we went probably around 300 over houses, okay, and we delivered packs of rice, soy sauce, sardines, okay, water, and that's probably one of the ways to actually do it. I think think logic where you need to help first. Of course, there were areas that are really badly hit. Okay, we see a lot of volunteers went to places like Kuala Krai and Manik Urai. Let's not just focus on those areas. Those areas definitely need a lot of rebuilding, okay, but other areas that got hit as well, they will need food.
Can you name a few?
We focus more on Rantau Panjang area, okay, because that's where Sungai Golo is, and then Tanah Merah is actually badly hit. They really need a lot of rebuilding as well. A few other places, some of the local teams actually went to Manik Urai. We actually gave them supplies to deliver to them.
Pasir Mas,
Pasir Mas as well, Pasir Mas. So we went to Pasir Mas, a place called Makassar. Yeah, and when you just drive through the main road, you won't actually see anything. You don't see any destruction at all. But like David was saying, just go inside. All the kampong roads. Just go about 500 meters in, and you see massive. You probably won't see house. Completely. You won't see destruction. Okay? But the water did rise up a little bit, and then they lost pretty much everything. Yeah.
Okay. I understand that you took annual leave from work to do this trip, and you're going back to Kelantan again tomorrow.
Yes.
How to, I mean, from your experience, how can this volunteerism be continued, and how can volunteers help them in the long run?
Tough one.
Right?
I mean, I'm not sure if this will actually answer your question, but I think volunteers need to prioritize. What I see on our back here, on our drive back here on Saturday, is that we saw a lot of four-wheel drives, okay, and we also saw a lot of tourists going there. It's I would call them tourists. Some of the volunteers bring their whole family. So I don't know whether all the kids will be helping. If they are, that's good. But I think we need to prioritize and think that rather than you taking the hotel rooms from other volunteers who will actually really be effective. Okay, probably consider that as well. Because you're also going to make queues longer at all the food stalls. So rather than suddenly if there are too many non-effective volunteers there, then you're probably taking away food from the needy. You're probably taking time from the volunteers because they suddenly have to queue for food. So I think these are the things that people need to be a little considerate as well.
Okay. Thank you very much, David and Dane, for coming to Rakyat Times to update us. We hope that tomorrow you have a safe journey there, and do send us some pictures and videos on your way there.
Sure.
Thank you. Thank you for having us.
Thank you.
And that was the 1:30 p.m. news. We'll be back again next week.